Hello, welcome to Unit 4. Um, in this unit, we're going to actually jump ahead to Chapter 14 on convolutional neural networks, which is a kind of a certain layout for deep learning neural networks targeted specifically to image processing, vision systems, that sort of stuff. And the reason for this is that it will help us motivate. We'll come back to some of the stuff in the earlier chapters, but it helps us motivate this. So it'll introduce some the reasons we need to do certain things. So later on, we'll come back to chapter 10 and talk about building more complicated networks that aren't just sequential, and we'll actually see examples of these, and then fine-tuning networks, talking about learning rates and batch sizes here. We'll also come back and cover some of chapter 11 stuff on using pre-trained layers and what is called transfer learning here with this, and then some of the optimization options that are here, Atom and RMS prop and things like that. But again, we want to look at some examples of this first. We'll also talk about dropout here. We won't be doing too much with chapter 12 on customized models and training with TensorFlow. This gets more into TensorFlow rather than the higher level Keras system here. And similar with 13, where we're loading in data, we will look at an example of this and a Kaggle challenge related to this. But we won't go too much into this. So we're going to jump into 14. The unit is pretty straightforward. We're just covering this one unit, all of chapter 14. There's a notebook associated with it that covers the first part of chapter 14, and then the later half is actually covered in the mini project on whales. Here. So we start with a simple notebook, and the book doesn't actually go through an a lot of code in this, so I brought in a fair amount of code here for this, and we'll be looking at simple layered networks here. And then for the mini project, we'll be looking at more complicated network structures used to identify humpback whales by their tails, which is a well-known Kaggle challenge that's happened. But this will bring us into networks that are very large and have many layers, and often not sequential layers to them as motivation. So kind of simple combination here. Go through the notebook, fill out do the write-up as you're going through the notebook, go through the mini project. You have to do 2 discussion posts, and again, it's all just focused on chapter 14. I may introduce another example here of another notebook with another set of images if I get a chance. The Caltech maybe 110 image database. I might add that example. It's not covered in the book, but I think it might give you another example to look at. But none of that will be required for what's required is just the write-up on this notebook and the mini project. So hope you enjoy it.